Hello. Yeah. Welcome back to my channel. And I am so glad that you all decided to swing by again today. Now yesterday I told you all that I was gonna tell you how I was diagnosed with this wretched disease, multiple sclerosis. On today, well, it may or may not be a tearjerker. Sometimes I be saying I'm strong or whatever, but then I realized, like, wow, oh my gosh, like I did that at what age? And yeah, and it may, bring up some past memories about, me. I mean, well, about the diagnosis. Well, it all started, do the dream fog or whatever right there. Insert that. In 2004, I tell you what, I'm not going to be exact with um dates and times. All I know is it happened. So it started back in the early 2000s. Not the one that took over for the 99, but yeah, I was probably 13, 14 when I started having symptoms of multiple sclerosis. So on this particular day is when I noticed that someone right. It was a dead cat on the line. So um I want to say my mom was, yes, it was. I remember like it was yesterday. My mama was braiding my hair. Shout out my mom. And I'm the type like, if it ain't tight, it ain't right. And so like the tension on my head, it was okay. So my mama, she doing it up. She got a lot of practice. She had two other girls before me, so in that situation, practice made perfect. So you know how when your butt, well, your bottom or whatever gets a little numb, so you try to, you know, fix it a little bit. So, like wake it up because they're gonna be an issue. Gonna go to ease it on down that leg, and the worst thing to do is get up on a foot that's sleep. Especially off the floor. So, um, she was almost done. I'm gonna tell you, like she was on this side of my head. So I'm moving, and she was writing, and I wanted to watch TV as well. So I noticed when I got ready to look at the TV at the corner of my eye, yeah, I couldn't do it. Like it was uh like my eye was saying nope, like go back this way. Like it was tugging, like I could feel it. But I wasn't sure if someone else could see it. See, that's one thing that I had to get used to. A lot of people didn't think because it wasn't physical or they couldn't see it or something like that, it wasn't there for them. Like I ran into that a lot, but that's the horse of a different color, and they're gonna be another story. So I was like, well, maybe to ease up once she finished with my whole head. And she finally got finished, and when she got up, I went to the bathroom, not to look at my eye, but to see like, was it right? Because they're tight. So let's see, what it was. I went to the bathroom, looked in the good mirror. Everybody got that good mirror, so I had the good mirror in the bathroom, and I was looking, and I saw I was gonna get something from under the sink, and I noticed, yeah, I could not turn my hair, my head, my eye again. So you know how you massage the head, not too much pressure. You know what this is. So I massaged my head, trying to see like is they gonna get the tension off my eye. Nope. So you know me. I was like, went back down the hall. I was like, Mom, something wrong with my eye. And she said, I'm look, Talisha, I already did your hair. Or whatever. Don't ask me. You can take it down if you want to. But I ain't gonna braid it no more. And I was like, okay, so I'm looking at like I just got my hair did. I ain't finna, take it down, like, cause this a hairstyle for like 2.5 weeks, So I went there, I went on, and I laid down, trying to see maybe when I wake up, I'm gonna feel better. No, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna deal with it. And I was a shade wearer. I love wearing shades back then. And still do now, but yeah, little baby been torn up or whatever back, so I just stopped wearing them. Um, but if you decide to purchase me some Ray Bans, is my go-to. So I would wear shades, and try not to look that way, when I was out in public. Um, I went, I went on, and I asked my sister, I believe, and I asked her what was something going on with my eye, and she was like, "Yeah, it's not going that way. That way. It's not. It wasn't going like this way." And so I was like, "Well." I told my mama again, and she was like, "Well, I'll take you to the doctor." Went to the local clinic in my hometown. Some of you may know, some of you probably don't. Most of you probably don't. And by the time I was scheduled an appointment, like my eye had went back to normal, like this. And but he said, he checked me, up, down, side to side, all this stuff like this right here, and he was like, well, if it happens again, then he started to talk low, whisper, it could be like MS, but, if it happens again, that was his response. And it never happened again in that year. So I was okay. So I'm assuming my mama was aware. I'm sure she was like, well, if she's not saying nothing, then there's no need to go further. And but the next year, my sister was getting ready. Well, she had went to the military, and she was in basic training. I remember like it was yesterday, and she was gonna graduate at the end of July. Yep, the end of July, and my eye did it again. But it wasn't this eye. This is the eye that I really, I had to do this to see, because this like it ain't all that, you know, both eye, any kind of vision is better than no kind of vision, but it's not as strong as this eye. So the the little eye thing or whatever, it happened the next year. So this time, my mom took me to our regular eye doctor, and he said, "Well, it could be neuritis or something like that, neuritis or whatever those itises are of the nerves in the eye." And so, but he still referred me to a neurologist in the that same county. But because I was, a minor, or I was, what do you call it, pediatric at the time, like he was hesitant. Like, well, doctors, some neurologists are hesitant if they're not at a certain age. But this neurologist, bless his heart, he decided to go ahead on and treat me. And so once I finally got in, it was um I want to say like it was closer to June, right? June. And I had a spinal tap. Yeah. I deal with a lot of pain, but at that time, that by far I feel like was the worst pain for a 14-year-old to experience. Like I could it was a very painful, like, so once I got the procedure done, as far as the spinal tap, the spinal tap wasn't painful. It was the headaches that came with the spinal tap. And you know me, I'm not gonna say I'm a goofy person, but like if it's funny, I'm a laugh. And so what happened? He was taking the fluid or whatever it's called. I'm no scientist, I'm no doctor, and I'm also not a dictionary. So it yeah, it began to like the more he took out, my foot began to tap. Now I was standing up or sitting up, and my feet were in a chair, and so my feet would like you can hear my shoes tapping on the chair, and he was like, "Do not move." Okay, and then like my head started to hurt, and I just wanted to lay down, and his nurses were in front of me, was like, "Oh no, you cannot do that, like you got to be still." But because of the pain, it was awful. Yeah, like two screws were being just drilled in my head by a manual. Josh, what kind of screwdriver is that? The one that's not a power screwdriver? It's not a power screwdriver. What kind? Oh, a manual screwdriver. Oh, so that pressure and trying to all that. Like, oh my god! Like I wanted to cry. I ain't cried when he had the needle in my back, but once he took it out, like I was just trying to lay down. He's like, "Wait, let me put the band-aid on." So he put the band-aid on, and I just cried. But I thank God for one of his nurses who had a Diet Coke, and she told me to drink this, and it should make it ease up just a little bit, or whatever. And yeah, like that was the beginning. Now, remember, I had to go. That was in the beginning of June, like May. Well, no, I'm gonna say May sometime, because school was out. I was letting out, I believe, and yeah, that's how it was going. It was going towards that. It was going into the summer vacation, summer let out, whatever you want to call it, for school age children, and whew, like y'all, every day I woke up boo hooing. Do you hear me? Like my head, like I'm talking about tears. Like I could not stop. Like I wake up, I have my pillow and stuff. Like they trying to get the make it stop, But my mama, she's not old. She's very seasoned, however, and she would before I would have to take my meds, she would get Bengay and rub it across my head and tie a I'm not gonna say a rag, but like a little whatever, around my head, a wrap around my head to ease the pain. Y'all, you don't be sleeping on the Bengay, even though don't be sleeping on the Bengay. That's all I got to say. And like that would ease the pain enough so I could eat, so I can take pain meds. And that was every day, all day. Like I would wake up at 8 in the morning, maybe, or whatever, and then I, cry, and then I take the meds, and I may get up again at 4, take meds, eat, go to bed. It wasn't like I just couldn't. The pain was excruciating. So that happened, and my mom was like, "Well, Talisha, you know that your sister graduate at the end of from basic later this month or whatever." And she said, "If you still having headaches like this, baby, you can't go to no South Carolina." That hurt my heart because I'm the type like free trip. Who this? Like a free trip. I ain't got to pay for nothing. Well, I'm 15 well, 14 anyway. I ain't have to pay for nothing no way. But still, I'm like, yeah, I ride. And I want to ride too. So I was like, had my little mini conversation with the Lord and was like, okay, God, I like to ride. You know, I like to, see places and stuff like that. Can you give me a little taste of relief? Okay, but from June until July, every day I woke up, my head would hurt. But it seems like when it got closer to the end of July, my headaches were getting lighter and lighter, and I would be like, Mom, let's not get the prescription medicine. Let's try one or two Tylenols, please. So I began to take the Tylenols. Then I would notice I'm just getting up to you know do like let's vacuum the living room or something like that. So I was back to my normal self. But all of that pain or whatever that I was experiencing, I will never forget it. Like a lot of people say, oh, when you have a child, you ain't gonna even remember that pain. Who said that? So, like, yeah, you remember. I don't know about nobody else, but I know that I remember the pain from my head and the pain from my baby. So, anyway, um, yeah, I was able to go to my sister's graduation. Oh, and I forgot to tell y'all, like when I was diagnosed, like I left the clinic and oh, I'm taking myself too fast. I'm sorry. So now with that test, I had to wait until September to get my results or whatever. To me, don't ask me why it took so long. I don't know. I can't answer that. Everything was going good. I wasn't having any symptoms. I was like silence your consent, so I assume everything was everything. So coming leading up to September-ish, yep, September, I remember, because it was I think like 2 days before my 15th birthday. I got a call to come into the office. Well, my mom got a call. I just answered the house phone, and they told me like to come in, to the doctor wanted to talk to me about my results and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, I let my mom know because I wasn't driving at the time. Like on the no, I wasn't driving. So my mom, I was okay, like I think we left school and I went and my heart started beating super fast. It was like once we got off the highway to go down the little street by the hospital, like my heart do like I started sweating and everything. And then when she hit that left and then hit that right, I was like, okay, fix your heart, Talisha. Fix your heart. Wasn't thinking about nobody prayer, nobody God, none of that. I was like, this got to be, I was scared, because not knowing that's scary. And went in. What seemed like forever before they could call my name. She finally said, Talisha. She said it so nice. I was like, okay, like an angel. So I went back there, and then I felt like something was gonna be bad because she touched my back. I feel like when people touch my back, either somebody dead or they finna give me some bad news. Like how people be like, yes, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's gonna be okay. Like, don't do that to me, like, cause my mind instantly go to bad news. So I waited in the room. Well, the nurse came in, checked my blood pressure, and got my weight and height and stuff like that. And I waited again until the doctor came in. That seemed like an eternity. Then he finally swung the door open. He was like, how are you? And I'm like, I don't know. It all depends on what you tell me. And so he went and he was like, well, I got good news and I got bad news. Good news, bad news. And I was like, he said, which one you want to hear first? I said, well, let me hear the bad news. And he said, you sure? I was like, yeah. And he said, he sat down on his little wheelie chair or whatever and said, well, I want to first tell you that no results are going to be 100%. And I was like, okay, okay. And he said, well, you did test positive for multiple sclerosis. It was 98.998%. Yeah, yeah. Like I am now, like I could not say any. I was speechless, and that's rare for me. I was like, "What do you mean?" And then he hit me with the but. But the good news is you do not have anything else as far as I can't even name them. He started naming off some diseases that you get when you do things that people do. So, and I wouldn't, like that at that time. So I remember like my body was like, do I cry or do I suck it up? So one tear fell. I remember like it was yesterday. I had a pink shirt on. Guess what? Dropped right on my pink shirt. I believe this shirt probably still have a wet stain on it. Like that tear was heavy when it hit my shirt. Like from here to boom, like it just hit the pink shirt. Then he was saying, you know how people are in TV series or whatever, like you just told them some bad news and you like they hear that sound like like they don't hear nothing, but the doctor is still talking to them. That was me. Like my mama had touched my leg, like you all right, tap my leg, and when she do that, it make me feel like she be like, well, it make me feel like she there, and at that moment, I felt like I was by myself, like literally by myself, like by myself. So, I looked out the window. Now, mind you, this is a ranch style um, clinic. For some reason, I wanted to like just jump out the window. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't gonna do nothing. Probably bump my lip or something. But then he began to tell me like, "We're gonna take care of you." Yada yada. I have a lot of patients who have multiple sclerosis, and they are working. They are basically living. Now I ain't gonna say their best life because I don't know who his patients are, but me. That's my intent. So once we left there, I had to go run, get more tests ran for what I don't know. You got all this juice out my back, back in May, June, whatever. And my mama was saying something. You know how you got bad news and you hear people talking, but you don't hear them. That's what was going on. I was like, let me call my daddy. So I called my daddy or whatever, and he said, well, it was a pause. And when my daddy paused, he paused. So I was like, okay. You know, he was like, well, he said, we just gonna go to God again. I was like, okay, come through, Dad. A D, He was like, you're not in this by yourself. And when my daddy say, you ain't in it by yourself, I believe it. Not saying I don't with my mom, but it's just like I believe, like I don't know. It's just how my mind is. Let me be me. And I went and into the hospital and got the test done. And we went to Wendy's that day. I wasn't even hungry. And I love to eat. Like I could not eat. Like I made it to the house and my Coke, um, the ice had melted out of it. I bit off it one time, put it in the refrigerator. I believe it it just wasn't like I had to it took a minute for me to wrap my head around, well, process the news that I had just gotten that day. And going back to school or whatever and seeing everybody, like I would get mad or whatever. Everybody else health, they ain't got nothing to worry about. They got the option of going outside, and if they sweating and stuff, it's okay. Me, nah, I couldn't do that. That it was it for me. That was it. Like I couldn't. Like I had to monitor how hot I got, or be concerned about my speech slurring. Much as I talk, I had to be concerned about that. That was something that I had to deal with for a long time. But then I realized, Talisha, you don't like being outside no way. So I would carry umbrellas, cute umbrellas, whenever I did go outside. So, um, yeah, it was an experience, and I just thank God that it is well as it is now. But don't you think for 1 second that it didn't get bad. But that's a different story. So stay tuned and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And also, I noticed on yesterday, you had someone peekabooing in and out, and she was not formally introduced. However, she's here today, and allow me to reintroduce her, and she is none other than my sweet baby. Oh, Talia Gabrielle. Ooh, uh. And that is my daughter. And a lot of people think that they can't have kids. And boom shakalaka. There one right there. You know, a lot of people think that they can't work or do a lot of things. Honey, live your best life. You know, now with what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm just be cautiously optimistic, because don't just jump out the gate or whatever about just doing stuff. Like, calm down, because after a while, you just jumping out the gate like that gonna become big. And I did become one, two, three, a lot of bills for my parents. And let me tell you, honey, when the bills came, well, I can't speak for that because they were them, but when the relapses came, honey, they came. But like I said, stay tuned, like, comment, and please subscribe to my channel. Now um I know that I'm on a laptop, but it seems like sometimes when I get ready to um record on my phone, it be talking about somebody's disc. The phone don't have no disc, I got an iPhone. So I'm assuming that somebody gonna have to give me a MacBook. Nah, but he ain't trying to hit it. But nonetheless, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Please, if you got something, don't be rude now. But just if you got a question that I can answer, put it down below or whatever. And that's it. Stay tuned for my next video. And guess what? This one I'm gonna tell y'all what that one gonna be about. When I had my biggest relapse. Oh my gosh, yeah. Now, I didn't cry through this. That was good. But the next one, I ain't gonna promise you that. I can't promise you that. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.